Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone back to COREversations, where we cut straight into real and raw emotions living at our core. My name is Leah Mills Chapman, otherwise known as Leah MC, and I am your host of COREversations. And tonight we have another amazing guest. I hope you all enjoyed our debut last Thursday. And, we had some deep conversation. Got some good reviews, and I think that we're going to have the same this week. So I need y'all to sit on back, get ready for some really, really deep, transparent conversation with our next guest. And I'm about to bring him up to the stage. His name is Eric Johnson, otherwise known as Big E. Welcome, 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 E, to Conversations. What's up, my guy? What's going on with you?
Hey, what's going on, Leah? How are you doing?
I
It's always good to see you, man. I mean, we finally got it. We got it together here.
look, we had a little bit of technical difficulties,
It
but
took a minute.
this is, the era that we living in right now.
Yeah, yeah.
We got to figure it out. And as we, take it step by step, it works itself out and it's all good, right?
That's right. That's right. It worked out well.
Yeah. So, again, I am super excited and glad that you could join us on the show this evening. Eric is joining us from the great city of Detroit. What up? What up? What up,
What
though?
up, though?
All my
What up,
people
though?
in the city.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
and so, again, super excited that he can make it this evening. Eric is a teacher extraordinaire. He is working with the youth of today, and that's not an easy feat at
Man,
all. And I mean, we just got to be honest, right?
that's right.
But he is doing the good work, and not giving up on our babies.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely hats off, because I know I was teaching some years back with Teach for America. Woo!
Yeah. Yeah. That's all you can say is woo.
I
It takes
mean,
work, though. But, like you said, these are babies. So we have to work with them. Each and every day we got to just work with them.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I think that, people take the profession of teachers, they just kind of think that this is just a given, right? That you get up, you go in there, and you need to produce something in our children. And I don't know if they really understand the difficult nature of what it is that goes into the work.
I mean, it definitely takes work. You have to be committed
Mhm.
to putting in the work. I mean, teachers all across the country, I'm pretty sure dealing with something similar to what's going on here in Michigan. I mean, just across the board, there's
Mhm.
a lot of things that are going on. You have it's 2026, so you got to deal with social media. You have to deal with so much kids are dealing with these
Mhm.
days. So, you know, teaching is not an easy job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But again, kudos to you for sticking in there.
Man, praise
I,
God.
I couldn't do it. I mean, I didn't give up on the babies. I did
Right.
it in a different, in a different way.
Yes.
I'm actually hearing that possibly the stream on Facebook might not be working. So,
Hmm.
our listening audience, let's hold on for a minute. It's saying on my end that we're live. Let me double check, because we don't want to get into the conversation and people are missing out. I
Oh,
see
wow.
this. I see this. I think maybe it's my husband who wasn't able to see. Honey, you got to, go ahead, check that thing again, run it back,
Right.
because we in there. We are on. So, again, kind of along with this subject matter of teaching with, and working with our children, again, my hat goes off to you. And I'm certain that we'll get a little deeper into the
Sure.
conversation
Yeah,
of the
absolutely.
work in which you are doing with our youth. But additionally, you are also an author.
Yes, 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 man. It's been a blessing to be able to just write my story.
Yeah.
Something that God has put on my heart for years. And, when you pray that prayer and
Mhm.
ask the Lord to show you your purpose, you better be ready for it. You better be
Wow.
ready for it because He'll show you, but you have to be ready.
Yeah. And you have to be willing,
You have to be willing.
right? To
Yes,
even be open to wanting to
absolutely.
hear, right? The call from God.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Because
Yep.
sometimes we kind of get stuck. We get stuck in what's going on with us and us alone. I was in one of my classes. I teach domestic violence classes, and
Okay.
I was talking with one of the guys, and they were like, "Well, how is it that anything is ever gonna change?" I said, "Well, it kind of starts with you."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
well,
all starts with you.
what'd you say?
So it all starts with you. Everything is within you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so he was kind of baffled by that answer. He was like, "Well, I don't
Mm,
have that kind of time. I gotta work and I gotta do all of these different things." And so my question was, well, does whatever it is that concerns you, does it really matter to you?
mm, mm.
Right?
Right. 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 If
So
it matters, I mean, you're gonna make changes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And
right.
so, people don't really look at it from that lens, right?
Right.
They see all that they have going on, but it takes some sacrifice,
Yes.
kind of go after those things that God has called us to do,
Yes.
right? And then we have to be able to see outside of ourselves sometimes,
That's
to be able to actually do the work. Yeah, for sure. So let's get into this, right?
all right. Let's
Let-
go.
Let's do this. Let's do it.
Oh,
So when I made this announcement about wanting to, start a podcast, you picked up the phone and you was like, when can I get on?
that's
Right?
right. That's right. I'm like, hey, I saw that you were putting it out there. I was like, okay, well, let's go. I'm ready to jump on.
But there was like a centering to me putting this out here, right?
Well,
Conversations is about
right.
looking at ourselves or possibly other people or the world at large, looking at things deeply at the core.
Hmm.
So why did that touch you so much, right? It wasn't just about coming on a show, it was about
Right.
hitting the negative core.
Right. Well, my background, my history, pretty much my life story, what I wrote about in my first book. One of the
Okay.
things I talked about, and I know we'll talk about it a little bit more so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it started at a young age. It started from the core. So
Mm.
when I saw your title for your new podcast, I was like, oh, I need to be on this.
Okay.
I
All
need to
right.
I need to share my story.
So you said the early age, right?
Yeah,
Starting in real young. And a
started
lot of
really.
times, right, the negative core belief starts right early.
Hmm.
So when you are thinking about you, or at least let me kind of put it like this.
Okay.
You and I, we go way back,
Hmm.
right? Knowing
Yeah.
each other for at least 20 plus.
At least.
At least.
Yeah.
And all I can ever think about when I think about E is that you silly as all get out. You are super fun loving, right? A
Yeah.
very happy go lucky guy.
For the most part.
Well, at least that's what we get, right?
Right.
That's the
Right.
presentation. And that is really what has lasted for 20 years.
True.
But you seeing that at the core, there was something else that was brewing that seems like it's juxtaposed to this happy go lucky. So
Yeah.
take us back to the
Well,
earlier beginnings.
yeah. Well, I can go back to, man, probably back to when I was real young. You
Okay.
just growing up in Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
and you growing up and you got your neighborhood kids, and I just a story that popped in my mind earlier today. I
Okay.
never forget. It was myself and it was a few of the guys on the block, and
Mm-hmm.
just playing basketball. So
Okay.
you everybody want to play basketball. We in the backyard, and I never forget. It was a couple guys. One of the things that they wanted to do, they was like, okay, in order for you to play basketball, you got to have these certain type of shoes. I'm like, man, I
Mm.
can't afford them shoes. So it was a couple other guys that was like, okay, we about to go run and go get some of these shoes. And they
Mm-hmm.
said, everybody was playing basketball, but everybody had on these pair of shoes.
Okay.
Man, I gotta go cut some grass or something. I want to get these shoes because I want to I want to be down with everybody. So I'll never forget. And just shout out real quick to my parents, my
Mm-hmm.
dad, my mom. My dad owned a landscaping company, snow removal. So
Okay.
most of the time, that's what I did during the summer, growing up in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with my dad, and that's one thing he taught me is how to work.
Okay.
Work, work hard.
Okay.
So I had to go and cut grass. And I told them guys, I said, look, I'll be back in about 2 weeks. Give me about a couple of weeks. I'm gonna go cut some grass, make some money. I'm gonna go get these shoes, so I could be in with the rest of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Got it done. Got the shoes. Went in the backyard. They back there playing basketball. As soon as I get back there, they was like, "Oh, we forgot to tell you. We didn't switch shoes. We didn't got a new pair of shoes now." And I'm like, "Oh, for real?" So I mean,
Wow.
you think back. I think back at stories like that. I mean, there's plenty more stories, but I
Mm-hmm.
think back at stuff like that, and it's like, oh man, so why was I the one being ruled out? You know,
Mm. Yeah.
so things like that. It leads you to other things.
Mm-hmm.
Negative self-talk, and it just goes all down the line. So as you're growing up, you have this negativity in your mind, like, man, I'm just not. I guess I'm not good enough. And that
Wow.
played on into adulthood.
So,
So
so I like that you
yeah,
bring this up, right? It wasn't that they said anything direct to you
correct.
about you, but it is almost like it was alluded somewhat that because I did not have at
Right.
the point that I needed to have it, then something, right, inadvertently was wrong with me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was that was pretty much my mentality that entire time. Like, man, so these guys have switched up, got a different pair of shoes, and no one ever told me. So I'm going in, I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, I got these pair of shoes, I'm ready to go. They just switched up, so I just said, at that point, at that time, I said, you know what? Evidently, this is not the group for me. So we
Yeah, yeah,
stayed, even though we stayed friends at
yeah.
that particular time, but there was just a distance. It was
Mm.
just like, okay, we cool, we speak, but that was it.
Okay. Okay. So you use this word, right? Group.
Right.
So for the listening audience and those that may not have been on last week, and I'm a pretty much probably every week put this disclaimer out because I had someone to make a comment to
Mm,
me because I am a therapist. I don't want for anyone to ever think that this podcast is about giving therapy to someone. It is really strictly just a conversation of just exploration, right? Learning, getting some insight, and hopefully sharing where your life experience and your testimony of overcoming certain things can potentially help somebody else.
for sure.
So I wanted to put that out there. But of course, being a therapist, I'm always have some references, right? Because that's just a part of who I am.
Hmm.
So you said group, right? So there's this thing in psychology that we look at as like in group and out group,
Hmm.
right? So you
Hmm.
got your crew, the fellas on the court,
Right.
they had the shoes, they were part of that in group. You were on the margins wanting to be a part of, just to play and have some right camaraderie, friendship, whatever it was. And because you did not have what they had, a part of that in group, you were then positioned to an external or an out group
Correct.
scenario.
Yeah.
Did you see that this began to shape how you saw yourself over time?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was just the starting point. Like I said, there's other stories,
Mm-hmm.
but that was the one that really kind of captured my mind early this morning. I was like, you know what? I remember that. You know, you start thinking back at stuff, and even I talked about a few things in my book. One of the
Okay.
things that you go back, because I remember when I first wrote that first book, it
Mm-hmm.
took me forever to write it just because it was therapy for me. I started, I stopped
Mm.
for a long period of time because you start thinking about this stuff, and it's like trauma.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, it
yeah,
literally is. It's trauma. It's like, man, this happened. I had to put the pen down for a while.
yeah.
2 3 weeks later, then you had to come. I had to wanted to come back and do some
Mm-hmm.
more writing. But
Mm-hmm.
you have to once you think about situations like that, and like
Yeah.
I said, that was really just the tip of the iceberg, basically.
So when you said you had to put it down, you had to put the book down. Why? I hear the trauma,
Right.
but what was so heavy in this writing that made you need to keep taking breaks? Can you give us a little bit more?
Once you think about things like that that's in the past and how
Mm-hmm.
it has shaped you as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really think like, okay, if I would have gone this way, maybe things would have been a little bit different. If I would have gone that way. So during that time I had to put the book down, those were the things that I would think about. I would think about which way, if I was Eric now, you know,
Okay.
which thinking pattern would I have gone down?
Okay.
So those are some of the things. And like I said, that was just one story. So you pick the book up, you put it down, and I went back and forth for quite some time. And it's
Wow.
not a big book, but
Mm-hmm.
it took me the longest just to write it, just because of situations like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And so it's not so much about the length of the book,
no,
but it sounds like the depth, right, of the pain of various experiences throughout your life.
correct, correct. And like
Right.
I said, when I wrote the book, I said I don't want to see anybody else go through this type of pain.
Yeah.
Because it was painful. It was painful just to, uh, like I said, that was the beginning of the journey
Yeah.
of going down a dark road.
Yeah. 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 So of course, we can't go through your whole life story,
Right,
right, in
right.
an hour's time. But you gave us kind of like the early shaping of, kind of questioning self. What
Hmm.
about me? What is it about me? How did you deal and manage with these questions that were kind of populating in your mind?
As you get older, you start to think different ways. Of course, anybody who knows me, I'm into the church, so I had to get my relationship where I wanted to be with God. I know that God had a purpose for me. I know it was something that He has called me for on this earth to do. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to make sure. And one of the things I did was, even now, I think about the time when I put social media down, and I
Mm-hmm.
literally put it down for like 2 years because I didn't know who I was. All I remember is me picking up the phone. I'm at a stoplight. If I'm at a stoplight, I'm just scrolling.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was almost like social media had me instead of me having it.
Wow.
So those
Wow.
were some of the things, and I had to sit back and think like, Eric, you're bigger than this. You can accomplish better things than just going through this type of process. So my relationship with God was the main thing, and I
Yeah.
had to make sure that I was on the same page.
But you taking us real far up the road. back on up just a little
Okay,
bit. So
okay, let's
you
go
done
back.
took us from a little fella to the mature man,
Yeah.
right? So when we're looking at the core,
Hmm.
right? And if you think about, an apple, I use this little illustration that you always kind of have that little worm that kind of starts the little hole,
Right,
right? Starts
right,
to eat away at. When these experiences began to happen, right, with you, and you began to look negatively at yourself, right? What would you say was the thing that began to really start to um kind of shine through that says, wow, yeah, this is taking me by storm.
mm,
This is taking me over,
yeah.
right? This negative thought about myself. What was the catalyst? What was the little worm in your life?
Well, like I said, just going back at when I started talking about the book,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that happened to me was that I took all of those negative things that were going on in my mind and in my body, and that's when I started eating. Some
Mm.
people do different things. They'll go
Yeah.
out, they'll smoke,
Yeah.
they'll drink or whatever. Mine was food.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
for me, food was comfort,
Yeah.
even at a young age. At a
Mm-hmm.
young age, I thought about this the other day as well. Walking up to White Castle Saturday morning. You know,
Yeah.
eating
Yeah.
White Castle on a Saturday morning while other kids either playing outside or doing whatever. So it started at a young age. So food for me was comfort, and
Yeah.
that was pretty much how that whole trail went down.
Yeah, wow. And actually in our first show as well, our first guest kind of talked about the same.
Hmm.
Um, is that, you know, and I'm hearing a lot of this is when bad things happen to us and we perceive it as something that's hurtful, right? And bad, and we begin to look at ourselves through this negative filter or this negative lens, that a lot of times we're going to the thing that seems to um kind of bring that immediate measure of gratification.
Right.
And food does that, right?
Right.
Like it releases chemicals in the brain that says, yeah, this is nice. This is all right,
Yeah, this is good. Yeah.
right? And when you look at America, what do they give us as one of the first drugs ever? Sugar.
Yeah. Yeah.
They put it in the baby's Similac, you getting it. They hooking you really early,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So they're hooking you in, like you said, at a young age, and I see it. I see
Mhm.
it all the time. A lot of kids, they instead of eating food, you see
Yeah,
more snacks.
yeah,
You see the potato chips. You see, of course,
yeah.
you see Takis.
I
You see,
know. Right, right, right.
yeah, you see all of that. You see
Yeah,
the candy bars, and I'm like, man, if only you knew what I knew. So
yeah,
that's one of the things I try to share, especially with the young kids.
yeah,
Don't start off that way because it's not going to end well.
yeah, yeah. So, I want to bring up something. I want to pull up a picture that you shared with me and
Okay.
said that it was okay to share with your audience. Um, that kind of shows how things can actually materialize
Mhm.
when we kind of overlook the pain or don't necessarily know how to deal with it.
Correct.
Avoidance is a huge part of painful experiences. People don't like to sign up for pain, right?
Not at all. Yeah, not at all.
It's just not like the norm. Well, I can't necessarily say that. In today's day, people like, tattoos and they get addicted to that,
Yeah.
right? Just as much as other individuals may get addicted to food or some other sorts of things. They begin to kind of crave that. And other sorts of self mutilation, whatever it may be. So there are some that like pain, but just kind of the normal on average, this is not something that one seeks out. And so they avoid leaning into it and find other things to try to, right, self soothe. So I want to bring up a picture for the audience so that they can see. And then I want, after they see, for you to kind of share with them kind of the turning point,
Okay.
right? The overcoming. So here we go.
Wow.
So at the top, this is you.
That's me. That's
And
me.
about how many years ago was this?
That was 2007, maybe? Oh six,
Okay.
oh seven, somewhere around that time. And at the
So,
top, that picture, I was at my max. I was at 550 pounds on that top picture.
wow. Okay. Okay. And I remember we were talking one day, and so if this is almost 20 years ago, so about 19 years ago.
Yeah,
So this
yeah,
around the time that you and I met.
yeah.
And remember when you were writing your book, you was like, Leah, why y'all ain't tell me? You remember
I do.
that? Y'all, it's okay to laugh at your pain, right?
That's
Like
right.
it's okay. As a trauma therapist, we integrate laughter. It's okay. It's healing. So
Yeah,
we're not laughing at this is just right. This is the
yeah.
reality
It's the
of a
reality.
conversation we had. Yeah.
That's true.
So why did you say what was I supposed to tell you?
Man, you know what? It's funny that you say that because myself and our good friend Eric Richardson, we always had that conversation. I'm like, man, why didn't you tell me I was swole? We talked. We actually just talked about it not too long ago. I sent him
Really?
a recent picture that someone sent to me, and I was just like, man, it was crazy, you know. So I'm thankful for people like yourself and a few others. I ain't gonna start calling names who really just I knew that they were my friends because they stuck around.
Wow.
They didn't just leave because man, Eric, you're a pretty big dude. I'm not gonna mess with you anymore. But in that first picture, like I said, the one on top,
Mm-hmm.
that was the one. And normally, I didn't take a lot of pictures, but
Wow.
that
Okay.
picture that was on top, I was on crutches. I remember. I don't know if I had told you that. I know you remember. I was on
Mm-hmm.
crutches for 5.5 years, but I always laid the crutches down. I never showed me taking pictures with the crutches. So the crutches were on the ground there.
Wow.
And to be honest with you, that picture right there was taken at Bahama Breeze. So
Okay. And you know they closed down now.
they
I'm so
closed
hurt.
down. Right.
It's amalgamated.
I probably helped them shut it down. I mean, because
Look,
we
me
used to go there
too.
quite a bit.
Shoot, me too. My goodness. But even still, so
Yeah.
I'm seeing so much in this picture, E. I really am, right? And I'm just focusing on the top right now.
Mhm.
Even though you said this was the largest you were,
Yeah.
right? Look at the smile though.
Oh, I kept a smile. The
So
pain
how
was
were you able to still, because you said you appreciate people that still stuck it out with you, which
right.
makes me feel like people turned their back and walked away,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
but you still kept a smile. Talk to us. How were you able to deal with the hurt of people walking away and then right the possibility of reinforcing what got you to this point of people right marginalizing you and pushing you out of groups or out of friendships and
Yeah.
then still smiling? Talk to us.
Man, it wasn't nothing but God. It was nothing but God because, even though you smile through the pain,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're smiling, but the pain is definitely still there. I remember my aunt told me, she was like, you know what, keep smiling because you got good teeth. I said, okay, well, let me just keep doing that, But yeah, it was painful, a lot of pain, but you just had to push through. Even lost of friendships, lost of different things, lost of jobs.
Mm,
That's a whole nother topic. But yeah, just keep pushing through and keep smiling. God got my. I knew that God had my back because
yeah,
it was a turning point, and when I saw it, and I'm like, okay, I see it now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I want to take us a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little off the beaten path, if you will, and then we're gonna come back, right? Because you said you had a lot of losses. So we're
Mm-hmm.
looking at friends,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're talking about, very early on, kind of losing a sense of self and inclusion, right? You talked about a job just recently, like losing jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So recently in the news, we see where the former lieutenant governor out in, I think it was Virginia,
Yes,
last week,
yes, I saw that.
Justin Fairfax,
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
very unfortunate, right? A murder suicide
Mm-hmm.
situation. And as I was listening in and looking at this story, very troubling, very hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, being a therapist, my ear is always open to hearing the proverbial cries of black men, ever so often saying, um, people not listening
Mm-hmm.
to what's going on with black men and their mental health,
Mm.
right? And so as I started to listen in on that story and, was looking it up, I was looking at all these losses. Like he was catching L's
Mm-hmm.
starting back in 2019, right? Where there was an accusation of a sexual assault situation of not one, but two women, but he was a married man. So, that there was, some breach, some issue there, right? With his marriage, his job. People started calling for his resignation because you're a public figure sitting in the public eye. He didn't want to, pull back on that. Like, no, because we know that a lot of times people, and especially being a public figure, but even just being a man, your job matters,
True.
right?
True. Absolutely.
And so you got the irreparable harm of who he is as a political figure, as a man to his wife. And then he ran for election again for whatever reason because he said that he was innocent. He ran again, he lost.
Yes.
So now we got another loss. And then they were going through a divorce. And right before this ended up happening, the horrid situation last week, they said that they were going through divorce proceedings and he was going to have to leave his home. He was going
Oh
to be put
wow.
out.
Wow.
When we looking at the mental health of black men and all of these losses, talk to us. Is that something that you could relate with when you're talking about losing the job, right? Going through all that you had to deal with before your transformation.
Yes.
Can you see any like measure of resemblance in the sense of just being a black man and losing things that kind of help to define you as a man?
Yeah. Well, yes, I do. And as a black man, especially, You look
Mhm.
at, the Bible tells you, you're supposed to be the priest, the provider, the protector. So you have these things, and you like, man, once you're not able to even do those certain type of things, but you live in a certain way,
Mhm.
it hurts. That pain, it hits you, it happens. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that, like you say, he went through it for quite a period of time.
Yeah.
And yeah, those thoughts, they cross your mind because you're basically in a dark place to where your mind will carry you somewhere that you wouldn't even imagine, you know. So I hate to hear that story. When I first heard it, I was just like, man,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I understand. I understand. You
Yeah.
know, you have to really get yourself in a community with other
Mm.
men that are ready to heal,
Yeah.
basically. You
Yeah.
know, and that's the only way that you can do it. You know, we always talk about, I always talk about Dr. Myron Edmonds.
You know, I'm sitting up here thinking about a shout out to Myron Evans down there in Atlanta. He
That
doing it.
he's doing it. Matter of fact, just shouting him out real quick. He's doing his men's conference next weekend in Atlanta. So I've been a couple times, and man, let me tell you, you come back totally a changed man. So yeah, shout out to Myron and his crew that's doing their thing down there. Because you got brothers all coming in from all over the country,
Yeah.
coming in to a safe space so
Yeah.
they can heal, so they can talk about the trauma that
Yeah.
they've experienced in the past. And it's powerful. But you have to be in that community.
But is it easy though? Because
No.
I work with brothers every day, and it's like cracking a
Yeah.
love nut that done been on, and that thing don't want to come off.
Hey, I'm telling you, especially for black men, it's not easy. A
Hmm.
lot of black men don't want to peel that, off the onion. They
Right.
just don't want to get to the core. They're not really trying to get to the core.
Why
So
you think? Why you think? What is it?
I mean, I don't know. A lot of times, like I said, trauma, it can take you different places. Your mind can take you different places. Then you want to stand up. You trying to be, some of the guys they trying to be hard or
Yeah.
show that they're in a way in a certain way, but technically they're not really. You know, everybody wants to be healed, but just don't know how and which way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Now, but before Myron, because he just really started this community not long ago.
right, right,
So let's be real. You was going this thing. I mean, not totally alone. You have your family, you have a
right,
loving wife, like you have your church community.
correct.
How was you dealing?
Man, it was tough. It was tough. You just dealt with it. You just look. One of the things I talk about is just keep going. Just keep going. Every day when you wake up, just keep going. It's going to get better. And that was one of the things I had just pretty much had to keep telling myself, look, man, just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually it'll get better. It took some time.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said before, I was off work, literally laid off for 5.5 years.
Yeah.
So shout out to my wife because she held it down. You're talking about 5.5 years
Yeah.
with no work,
Yeah.
going through surgeries, going through, just all kind of stuff. So especially when you're used to making a certain figure,
Yeah.
you leave from that figure and you go to unemployment. It's like, whoa, this thing is real.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
of course, your mind takes you there. You go through those painful thoughts and suicide thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like you said, as a therapist, you see that all the time,
Yeah.
especially in black men. And I'm sure if you know the numbers, those numbers are rising all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And these
unfortunate.
are real conversations, right?
Yes.
The losses sadly are beginning to pour in.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's real. But like I said, you get up, you get dressed, you put on some clothes, and you just keep going. Just
Yeah.
keep going. Each day plug away at it. You may
Each
not
day,
see it right then, the change, but it'll change
yeah,
eventually. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Each day is a new day,
that's
right?
right. That's
And
right.
to reset the mind, what would you do to do that? How did you encourage yourself to go from, where you were to where you are now?
I had to just tell myself, I'm like, Eric, you're not old. You're not, well, maybe I am now, but I'm not that old. I wasn't that
you
old to
get you
where
get on there, E. That's all right. It's all right. We're
I'm just,
seasoned.
I'm just saying, I'm like, okay, now there's no way that you can continue to live like this.
Mm-hmm.
So when they say what, being tired, being sick and tired of being tired of, I mean, I had gotten sick and tired of being tired,
Yeah,
exhausted, in
yeah,
pain all the time, every day. So I was like, you know what? This has to end.
yeah, yeah,
So you just got to keep pushing forward, putting your best foot forward each day.
yeah, yeah. So it went from the emotional pain into the physical pain.
Yes,
And then you decided to do something about it.
I had to. I had to because I'm like, man, I'm looking at my wife, I'm looking at my family, and I'm like, man, you miss out on events, or
Yeah,
either you show up at events, everybody's staring at you. I'm like, nah, this is not me. This
yeah.
is not me. So I had to do something about it.
So
And
talk to us about how you maintain it, right? Because, again, in this, world of therapy, if you will, we talk
yeah,
about stages of change,
right.
right? Like things don't happen overnight. And if you can do it, praise God that is, your gifting. But for many, you got to go through some phases. And
Yes,
one of them, after you start to getting this thing in motion and taking actionable steps, you got to maintain that thing.
you have to maintain it.
So talk to us about how you've been able to maintain the new figure.
You know, um, it's funny. I told my wife the other day, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this challenge. So I'm
Okay.
doing a 30-day challenge.
Okay.
And I said, I'm gonna do 50 sit-ups a day for the
Wow.
next 30 days. I
Okay.
know 50 is not a lot. And the first thing she said was, you can do more than that. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, I can, but let me get back, let me be consistent at
Yeah.
this 50.
Yeah.
If I can do 50 for 30 days, I already know I could do more, but
Yeah.
let me just be consistent because you get things don't change. You
Right.
start, you stop. I get my workout in. I still get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I have my devotion. I'm at the gym in the parking lot at 4:30. They open at 5.
Yeah.
So,
Y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this?
hey, so
This
listen,
brother is up.
but that's what works for me. I'm not telling everybody to get up at 3 o'clock every morning, but that's what I had to find my niche.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows me, I'm looking at the clock right now, and I'm like,
Look, y'all, he was supposed to have been in bed at 5:30. So he is doing me the biggest favor on earth.
hey, so listen. Normally, I'll be in another zone right about now,
In
but
the REM sleep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but no, that's what worked for me. I'm getting up 3 a.m. I'm having my devotion. I'm not only just praying for myself, I'm praying for my family. I'm praying for those students. I'm
Yeah.
praying for the staff.
Yeah.
I'm praying for everybody who I can have an impact on
Wow.
every day. So that's how I start my day, and I continue it throughout the day. And for me, it works. Meal prepping.
Yeah.
Sunday, I'm meal prepping for the whole week. I'm getting my clothes ready for the whole week. But that's what works for me,
Yeah.
in order for me to keep going and
Yeah.
to stay consistent.
Wow. 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 I love it. And at this time, I'm about to pull this up
Okay.
because I told y'all in the beginning that E is an author. not just a one book, not just a two, but now he has a third to add to his repertoire.
And we're gonna talk about something else too after that.
Okay, all right. Hold
Yeah,
on. Let me get this one and switch it on over. Here we go. Here we go. So I'm
yeah.
gonna give you the honors of taking us through your first, then your second,
Hmm.
right? And then talk to us about your newest, which is probably one of my favorites, just because I just love it. Just love it.
Oh
All right.
man.
So talk to
So so the first one, and we briefly talked about it. You know,
us.
the wait is over. My battle with obesity. So that was the one that took me forever to write.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But again, like I said, I was when I wrote the book, when I first started writing the book, I was actually 562 pounds.
Mm.
And then I shedded some pounds. And then so, and when I really got into it, it was 550 pounds. But that was my first book. And then
Okay.
I figured, I'm like, you know what? Let's bring it closer to home.
Okay.
Something a little bit more spiritual. So that was my second book, which is out now as well.
Mm-hmm.
And with that book, it takes you down a 30-day journey. And, you know, it has your devotion. Like I said, I have my devotions every morning. So I want to put it in the book form to where you can journal in the
Okay.
book.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you can get a lot of good biblical concepts out of it. So I love writing that book. I really enjoyed writing that book. And matter of fact,
Mm-hmm.
shout out to my boy Darren Claxon out in
Okay.
Washington, D.C. at D-Clack Solutions because Darian really poured into me. You're talking about having that community of
Yeah.
brothers. This brother saw something in me and was like, man, let's go. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
I really appreciate him, and I appreciate a lot of other guys too. But so that was the first book, second book, and my baby EJ's Courage to Keep Going. Man, I love this story. It's a short book, but
Uh-huh.
I'm actually more excited about this children's book. This is my first children's book,
Okay.
and I'm loving it. I'm getting some really, really good responses from it, and so let's just keep going. I'm excited.
So look, we ain't gonna rush past that. Back on up,
Okay.
back
Okay.
on up, right? So EJ's courage to keep
Yes.
going, was this like written because of something that you saw in children that
Yeah.
was in your classroom? Or was it just really something that you saw that maybe you needed and wish that you had as a child, or maybe both?
Both. It was actually both. I mean, you know, I see children every day, all day. And like I said before, you know, you look at some of the things that they're eating, you don't want them to go down that same path as you did.
Yeah.
And, you know, portions of this book is basically my story, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So yeah, it was a little bit of both in the book. And this book is really, it was fun to write.
Okay.
I really enjoyed writing this book because everybody can get something out of it, not just the child, but
Mm-hmm.
actually adults can get something out of that book just to keep
Yeah.
going.
I've
Yeah.
actually, seen some reviews,
Yeah.
and I gotta get mine.
Oh, I got you.
I gotta get mine
Yeah.
like soon, soon.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, I've seen some reviews, and it seems like the adults are really loving it. And
Praise God.
I've used children's books in working with adults
Yeah.
because it's simple, right? It's not all these big words. You just break it down to the lowest common
That's it.
denominator. Just let's get to the brass tacks. Do this.
Yes. Yeah. And that was my
Yeah.
mindset when I wrote it. You know,
Uh-huh.
make it simple, even though it's a children's book, but
Yeah.
adults can get a lot out of it as well.
Wow. Wow. I love it. EJ's courage to
Yes.
keep going. I think that that is just so perfect when we're looking at all of the different things that may have hit us throughout our life, right?
Mm,
That may have been put before us to debilitate us, and we didn't even know it, to
that's
make
right.
us, right, look at ourselves negatively, to stunt our growth. But what I'm hearing is all we need to do is develop a measure of courage
That's
to
right.
simply just keep going.
That's
And so
right.
before we go, I always have to do this. And it is our final within 60 seconds.
Okay. Okay.
Want to give you an opportunity to drop a little seed of hope for our listening audience.
Yeah.
What would you say in 60 seconds that would um, land? You feel that would land as something to, help germinate some hope
Yeah.
in the lives of others.
Yeah. Well, firstly, I want to say thank you for taking this time to interview me. You know, it's been such a blessing. Like I said, we go back.
Oh, yeah.
So you saw the struggle, and man, I appreciate you. I appreciate Lonnie. You know what I mean. I appreciate your family. But
Yeah.
yeah, just a seed of hope. Whatever it is you're going through, if it's weight or if you're drinking or just whatever the situation may be,
Yeah.
just know that you need to be intentional at trying to overcome that thing. Whatever that thing is, be intentional at trying to overcome that because like I said, I'm just me personally. I wake up every morning at 3 and I have my devotion.
Yeah.
Somebody else may have a different time where they want to do whatever they need to, but whatever it is that you want to do, be very intentional about doing it. I mean, be serious about doing it. And when
Yeah.
you do it, make sure you pray about it first. Ask God to show you specifically what it is that you want to do, what He wants you to do. He'll show you. He definitely
Yeah.
will show you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
I so appreciate you,
Yeah, I appreciate you.
dropping these nuggets and definitely our seed of hope. And before I end, I want to encourage our audience to go to your website. And that's
Mhm.
www.yourwaitisOvernow.shop. And pick up one of Eric's books or
Come
all
on.
of them.
Come on. Come on, get it.
All of them. Sometimes you may just need to, know that you're not in this thing alone. It might not be physical weight, it may
That's right.
be emotional weight.
That's right.
Either way, weight is heavy. And if it is putting you in a position where you're not moving forward to become who God designed you to be, come on. Come on, we
That's
need
right.
you to be moving forward, moving forward. So, again, www.yourwaitisovernow.shop. Pick up one and or all three of Eric's books. And so,
Yes.
E, I appreciate you. You know, I love you. You my guy.
Thank you,
And
fam.
I
I
want
love
to
you.
thank you so much for taking out the time this evening to come on to COREversations.
Hmm.
And we will be back next week, Thursday, same time, same bat channel at 8 p.m. I hope to see everyone there. Do have a beautiful, beautiful remainder of your night.
Right.